Today we're going to be assessing shoulder flexion, active range of motion. You can have your patient in the short-seated position or in the standing position as long as you're monitoring compensations. So Matthew, I'm going to go ahead and have you give me a good straight posture here, sitting up straight. Good. And the axis of your goniometer is going to be on the humeral head. And then the stationary arm is going to be following the midline of the body or the trunk. And then the moving arm is going to follow the lateral epicondyle of the humerus. Okay, so Matthew, I'll have you perform the active range of motion shoulder flexion, which means we're going to go ahead and lift our arm above our head. Good, excellent. Go ahead and have you lower. Good, get you lined up here. And go ahead and raise one more time for me. And his active range of motion for shoulder flexion was 0 to 180 degrees, which is normal. Now I'm going to be assessing shoulder external rotation for passive range of motion. You can have your patient in the supine hook lying position, and then you want to abduct the shoulder to about 90 degrees here, and then add a bolster to the distal end of the humerus. Your axis is going to be on the olecranon process. And then the stationary arm can be perpendicular to the floor or facing upward. And then the moving arm is going to follow the ulna to the ulnar styloid process here. So go ahead and relax for a minute. And then I'll go ahead and take you down here. His passive range of motion was 0 to 82 degrees, and normal is 0 to 90 degrees. Next, I'll be assessing shoulder horizontal adduction, active range of motion. So you can have your patient in the short-seated position, and then their shoulder is going to be flexed to 90 degrees, and their elbow will also be flexed to 90 degrees. Again, you can just hold there for me. And the motion that we're going to have our patient perform is horizontal adduction, so they're going to come across their body here. And there they go. Your axis is going to be the superior acromion, and then your moving arm is going to follow the lateral epicondyle of the humerus, and then the stationary arm is going to be perpendicular with the trunk. So just hold there for me, Matt, okay? Perfect. And then when you're ready, Matt, I'll go ahead and have you perform that movement one more time for me. Line. Perfect. And Matthew got 0 to 115 degrees, and normal is 0 to 135. Next, I will be assessing shoulder abduction manual muscle test. The main muscle that we'll be assessing here, the agonist muscle, is going to be the supraspinatus. You can go ahead and have your patient in the short-seated position. Sometimes this can be also done in standing. And then you'll have your patient perform active range of motion, shoulder abduction. So Matt, I'll go ahead and have you raise your arm all the way above your head for me. Come sideways, good, and relax. Good, excellent. And then we'll go ahead and take him to the test position, which is roughly about 90 degrees of shoulder flexion here. And I'll have you stay here, Matt, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and my stabilizing hand is gonna be here at his scapula, and my force hand is gonna be applying a downward force into the distal end of his humerus. Good, okay, Matt, I'll have you hold here, okay? Good, and hold, and relax. Next, I will be assessing shoulder internal rotation manual muscle test. The agonist muscle that we will be assessing here is going to be the subscapularis, which is one of the 4 rotator cuff muscles. You can have your patient in the prone position or laying on their tummy, and then adding a bolster underneath the distal end of the humerus and just abducting that humerus to get a proper assessment here. And then you'll go ahead and have your patient perform active range of motion, internal rotation. So Matt, that movement is going to look like this here. Good, so I'll go ahead and have you perform that movement by yourself for me. Good, excellent, relax. Good, and then my stabilizing hand is going to be here on this side of his elbow or his humerus. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put him into internal rotation here. My force hand is gonna be here, applying a force through my 2 fingers here at his wrist. Good, Matt, and I'm gonna go ahead and have you hold here, okay, ready? Good, and hold, 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 and relax.